Before we go any further, I want to tell you a little bit more about the circle and the sphere we talked about last week, just so we make this clear. The circle, I call it a circle of knowledge, if you remember from last week. Well, we can also have the circle which is full of triangles. And these are triangles of knowledge. Do you see what I'm getting at? You can make a circle, a sphere, using triangles. And that's one of the strongest circles you can make. Okay, so each one of these triangles is a triangle of truth that makes up the larger circle of truth. And within each one of these triangles, there are more triangles. Each truth, you get deeper into each truth. So that's a formula that I'm using here so that you can understand that. Remember the original truth that I talked about where we had heat, oxygen, and fuel, which made fire, and you remove any one of those three and there's no fire. So that's the fire, the truth of fire. The triangle of truth for fire. Do you follow me? So that's what we're going to be using to talk about art. That's the formula I used. The large circle, and within the circle of truth, and then within that circle, there are triangles of truth that make up that circle, that sphere. Okay, I just wanted to clear that up. Alright, so today we're going to put this line again. Business, commodity, no business, no commodity. Business, commodity, no business, no commodity. There's a dividing line. Alright, on here we have a circle of truth. A triangle of truth, I'm sorry. We have a priest. We have the sacrament. And we have a believer. A priest, the sacrament, which includes the Holy Eucharist and the bread and the wine and the baptism and that stuff. And we have the believer. And that is a union with God. That's union with God. Or communion with God, however you want to call it. Down here, we have the artist. We have the sacrament, which would be painting, sculpture, photography, what have you. And over here we have the believer. Okay? Circles of truth. This is a communion or a union with heart. Union with heart. You following on that? These are both religions. This is the God religion. Priest, sacrament, believer. Combination of those three makes a union with God. The art religion, we have the artist. The sacrament, which is paintings and sculpture, so on. And the believer, which makes a union of art. But because this is on the business side, This is God com, and this is art com, or com art. Commodities. Now, you might say, God is not a commodity. Well, you go to a church, and it's all about money, isn't it? Most churches want 10% of your salary. There's plenty of money floating around up here, so let's not say that's not a commodity. There's a commodity there. You move this, either one of these, over into the non-business, non-commodity. Move those triangles over here, and then you have the true union with God here, because there's no money involved. You have the true communion with art, because there's no money involved. So this becomes true art, and this becomes the true God. But I'm not going to talk about this religion for God. That's somebody else's business, not my business. They do what they want, and I'm not even criticizing them. I'm only pointing it out to give you an example for the art thing here down. So let's just forget all about that and concentrate on this. We have the artist, we have the sacrament, and we have the true believer. And now we're on the non-commercial, non-commodity, non-business side of the line. And this is where we're going to stay. We're going to stay over here. And I think you can do it. Because what I want you to do from now on is I want you to look, when you look at art, I want you to think of this design, this line, and you decide whether it's com art or true art. That's easy enough to do, isn't it? If you see money involved in it, if you go to a museum where you find that art and there's money all around, or they paid a lot of money for it, or artist, you talk to an artist and he's selling this stuff and getting a lot of money for it, or even if he doesn't get a lot of money, he's still in the business, that's com art. You run into some art that has no money at all involved with it, it's made for the sake of art, then that's true art. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to start concentrating on, you out and look at art, start thinking of it in these two terms. That shouldn't be too hard. Okay, that's all for this week. See you next week. Go to my website, send me an email. See you next week.